I often ask myself, when I was living in America without making active plans to make Aliyah, how did I read that Bible? I really ask myself that question. God tells Abraham, pick up, leave your family, leave what you're comfortable with, and the first command is Lech Lecha, is to go to the land of Israel. The entire book of Deuteronomy, over 50 times, not related to a specific command. It talks about Israel. The land of Israel as the destiny and the ultimate place for the Jewish people. I don't know how I read it back then without telling myself, oh my goodness, I have to pick up and come. There definitely is a blockage. People are caught up in their lives. They're busy with their day-to-day lives there. They view Israel sometimes through the eyes of CNN and the like, and they view it as a place which is dangerous, and why do I want my children to have to live that way? I do think that we are at a moment where the tide could be turning. We just commemorated the anniversary of September 11th, and I know that I sat down and watched some videos just to remind myself about that terrible day. The moment that happened, the whole idea of Israel being dangerous versus the comforts of the United States, that was sort of dispelled. I think that people understood it can happen anywhere. Terrorists will come to the United States as well, and people realize that. Now with difficulties in the economy in the United States, so the comfort zone in terms of the financial situation isn't there anymore. So a lot of the things which were blocks before, I think, are beginning to fall away. And I really hope that within the next few years we will see a significant change and a upswing in terms of Aliyah. The whole discussion we had about peace before, it would be a different question if a few 100,000 people from North America made Aliyah. The whole question of the demographics and the like would change, because now all of a sudden it is a Jewish country, and that'll contribute towards the Jewish identity. So my hope is that people will do that. People will consider it. There are organizations like Nefesh B'Nefesh and others that make it possible financially. And if you want to raise your children as a Jew, it's not meant to be in the United States of America. It's meant to be in Israel.
It's not a natural state to be in,
Correct.
Be out in exile.
I have a friend who gave a beautiful example for this. He said, if you go to the Bronx Zoo in the middle of New York City, you go to the Bronx Zoo, they have a polar bear exhibit. So he said, if you just focus on the polar bear exhibit without anything around it, so you see a polar bear in his habitat. He has his water, he has his ice, he has his snow, but you just take a step back for a moment and you see that he's in the middle of the Bronx in New York City. And he said, that's what Jews living in America, we have our synagogues and we have our schools and we have our kosher restaurants, so you feel like you're living as a Jew. But if you just pull back for a moment and see where you are, you're in the United States of America. You're not in a non-Jewish country. You're not in a place where God says this is your destiny, this is your land. So I understand why people are staying. It is very difficult to leave family. It is very difficult to leave what you're comfortable with. But I hope that people could start generating that perspective and recognize that they are that polar bear in the Bronx Zoo. They're not in the place where they belong, and it's such a natural fit for Jews. Everyone who comes experiences something. There's no question about it. They suddenly feel a connection to the land. They feel that something's happening. But then when it comes down to the practical issues of making Aliyah, and again, I'm not one of these people who says everyone should just drop everything and come. I understand that there are challenges and there are difficulties. The first day of school after made Aliyah, can you imagine? I'm sending my child to school knowing that he will not understand one word that is being said by the teacher that day. That's very difficult. It's emotionally challenging. It's draining. Amazingly, the kids pick it up within a few months. They're fluent and they sound completely Israeli as opposed to their parents who are still struggling with it. That's part of it also. You live in a culture now where if I want to get any kind of services, I have to pick up the phone and speak to people in Hebrew, and it's very challenging. It's very difficult.
And all the documents, contracts, and invoices.
Everything. So it is very difficult. Like we said before, though, everything difficult is worthwhile. Anything worthwhile is going to be difficult. And once you sort through all that and you get over the hurdles, and the hurdles don't stop, they always come. But if you view it as, wow, this is my challenge to be able to live in the land of Israel, again, like I said, the Bible, the Talmud, just full of the statements about it, you can embrace those challenges instead of being turned away from them. The financial situation in Israel is not simple. Salaries are far less than they are in the States. At the same time, you don't have tuition payments, you don't have healthcare payments, so there is something to offset it as well. But as I said, if you're thinking long term, you're looking at the broader picture and the bigger picture, all those challenges are almost meaningless when you say, wow, I'm living in the land of Israel, looking out at the hills. I get in my car, get in a bus and go to Jerusalem and go to the Western Wall. It's not a vacation spot, but it's where I live. And I certainly hope that more and more Jews will view it that way and that they will come back. Right, I have a friend named Lenny Solomon. He has a music group called Schlock Rock. He has a song with a music video called Walking the Land. And he talks about how he goes on his daily walk just for exercise. But in the United States, that was just a walk. And here I'm walking the land. I'm walking in the footsteps of my forefathers. I'm walking the Bible. We actually have a tradition that every few feet that you walk is a mitzvah, is a positive commandment being fulfilled. And that's what he talks about, that you can just transform a simple walk for exercise into something so meaningful and so beautiful. The United States of America has welcomed Jews, has been a haven for Jews, and we call it a malchut shel chesed, a kingdom of kindness. They've been nothing short of that, and Jews have developed there. My father was a federal judge in America, and we've succeeded there, we've flourished there, and there's a comfort in that. Israel is a difficult place. You're surrounded on all sides by enemies who do want to destroy you. Financially, like you said, it's difficult. There's no rain. The climate is not simple. I live in Beit Shemesh, which in Hebrew translated is the house of the sun. And it literally is that. When the sun is out and it's shining, it is hot. It is very difficult. And if you're not used to that, I'd rather be in my cool climate and have my rain and have my snow and the like. It's very difficult, and I think God made it that way. I think God gave us a land where it has those difficulties and those challenges because, first of all, like we said earlier, challenges help us grow, and also it makes us reach out to Him for His help. There's no question about it.
And it's almost like a test, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think. It's like, if you want to come up to the temple, you've got to go up the hill.
Correct.
And if you want to just stay at the bottom, you can stay at the bottom. But if you want to come up, you've got the hill, and then you've got to walk up it, and it's steep, and maybe you're tired and the sun's out.
Absolutely. The Talmud actually says that the land of Israel is one of the things which are acquired through difficulty. It says it straight out in black and white. You open up the Talmud. It's acquired through difficulty. It's challenge. And the moment you think you've overcome one challenge, all of a sudden another one pops up, and then another one pops up. And it really is a test. There are some people who do have to go back to where they came from. It does happen. It's a small percentage. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying they failed at the test. I think that it could be that it wasn't for them. But there's no question that we, on a daily basis, do feel like, wow, we're overcoming it. We're dealing with it. We're anticipating new challenges, overcoming the challenges right now. And that's a great way to live life. There was a movie when I was younger called Parenthood that people who are watching might be familiar with. But there's a grandmother in the movie who talks about her son was complaining that life is so difficult. And she said, there are some people who go to the amusement parks and they go on the merry-go-round and they stick to the easy rides. She said, I always liked the roller coaster. I like the challenge of going up, up, up and having to plummet down and going upside down. And she said at the end of the day, the people who went on the merry-go-round, they had a day, but they didn't really do very much. But the people who went on the roller coasters and dealt with it, you go home with that adrenaline rush and wow, I really had a great day. And she said, in life, I choose the roller coaster. Wow. And it's a very beautiful metaphor.